Hi folks, Rick from Trouts Fly Fishing here. In the spring, lots of folks are very interested in saltwater fly fishing, particularly flats fishing. February, March, April are phenomenal months to head down south and chase tarpon, bonefish, permit, all those really fun flat species. One of the questions we get quite often from traveling anglers is appropriate footwear on the flats. Unfortunately, your trout wading boots do not apply to tropical flats. The rubber is much too soft, and your guides are going to be pretty unhappy when there's black marks all over the boat from that rubber that we use here in trout wading scenarios. Simms offers a pretty broad line of saltwater wading boots. They all have pluses and minuses, and there's not really a best decision for all saltwater flats fishing. There's different options for different applications, different price points, and different anglers. And I'm just going to kind of go through the Simms line, weigh some of the benefits and some of the downsides of their saltwater wading boots, so you can make a really good decision for your next saltwater wading trip. The least expensive boot in the Simms line at $79.95 is the Zipit Bootie. The Zipit Bootie is the simplest offering from Simms. It is a slip-on with a adjustable zipper on the side. It's got a hard vulcanized rubber coating on the outer, and it's consists of almost entirely neoprene. This is designed to be worn barefoot, but you can wear a light liner sock with it. This is probably the least durable of the Simms flats boots line. While it does have this vulcanized rubber coating on the outer, folks have remarked in places with heavy coral, lots of jagged rocks, anything that's very abrasive, they're just not designed to hold up to that abuse. If you're heading to Mexico and wading turtle grass or sand flats, they'll probably work just fine. Given that they're lightweight, they'll stuff into a pack so you don't have to add a ton of weight while you travel. They're fairly comfortable. There's no adjustment from laces or Velcro, so fit is not always perfect, but they're good enough in a pinch. They're inexpensive, and if you're not going to do a ton of wading, they're great to throw in your boat bag just in case. These are $79.95. This is the Simms Zipit Bootie. Kind of in the all-around platform, you have two options. You have the Intruder boot and the new Simms flat sneaker. The new Simms flat sneaker is $169.95. The Intruder boot is $189.95. And these are the most versatile offerings in the Simms flats wading line. The new flat sneaker is brand new for 2019. As you can see, it takes a very athletic design. The mesh upper with the reinforced scratch rubber on the outside is nice and lightweight, but very durable. The gum rubber sole flexes as you move. It provides really good grip in tropical water temps, and it can handle some of the more abrasive surfaces like coral and rock. There's not a ton of reinforcement over the toe cap, so if you're heading to the Seychelles or Christmas Island, there may be some issues depending on how you wade of abrasion or coral kind of causing some wear and tear to the top of the boot, but nothing to be terribly concerned about. The flat sneaker is the first boot in the Simms line to offer half sizes as well, so if you've had trouble in wading boots in the past, being 11.5, 12.5, 10.5, they do have half sizes in this boot, so you can get a really dialed fit. It's nice and lightweight, super comfortable, no metal parts to corrode. As always, give everything a rinse in salt water, but there's not anything that's going to corrode as salt water gets into the boot. This has had great reviews from our customers that have taken on recent trips. It's probably one of the most comfortable boots we've seen come out in the saltwater line. It's a great all-around boot. The Intruder boot is certainly my choice for saltwater flats wading. It has an integrated neoprene sock with a very tight cuff that keeps out sand and gravel. I can't tell you how many times that I've been walking a flat and had to stop and dump sand out of my boot, and it's really annoying and uncomfortable. The Intruder boot is the only boot that really addresses that. As such, there is a bit of a downside. Because this cuff is so tight, it can be a bear to get on and off. And a lot of folks, particularly those with limited mobility, have noted that the difficulty in getting the boot on and off is a deal breaker for them. I'm young and I don't mind spending a little extra time pulling on a tight stocking foot, and it really makes a big difference because I don't have to constantly take it off and dump out sand and gravel. The integrated neoprene does come up to about mid-shin length, so if there's any potential dangers, jellyfish, sea urchins, things like that, it does add a little bit of protection. There is a full scratch rubber toe cap, so it's going to be very durable in coral and hard rock situations. The upper is a nice lightweight mesh. It's very comfortable to wade in all day. It doesn't add any weight to your foot. It's very adjustable with laces, so you can get a really dialed fit when you get it on. And it's got a little more aggressive tread on the bottom of the gum rubber sole. So if you are doing any slippery wading on rock edges or anywhere where the grip may be an issue, it's going to grip a little bit better than some of the simpler tread patterns on the Zipit Bootie and the flat sneaker. I have this boot in the freshwater iteration as well and wear it all the time. It's comfortable, keeps sand and gravel out, it's nice and lightweight. This is definitely my pick for most saltwater wading applications. Lastly, at $199.95 is the Simms Vapor Salt Boot. This is the boot for the folks heading to really treacherous coral conditions, or folks on the East Coast waiting for stripers on jetties and things like that. It has the most aggressive gum rubber tread pattern in the line. It's also studdable, so if you're wading slippery rock jetties, you can add aluminum or carbide studs to the bottom of the sole to add some extra grip. Keep in mind that all metal is going to corrode very quickly in a saltwater environment, so you do have to be really careful to rinse it regularly. It's by far the most reinforced boot in the line. The scratch rubber goes all the way over the toe cap, up the sides. Rather than a mesh on the side of the last, there's a rubberized coating over the top. So folks that are really putting a ton of wear on this, particularly in coral environments, this is the boot for you as far as durability is concerned. Again, no metal parts in the boot as it is, so no real worries for corrosion, but rinse everything that sees salt water off as soon as you're done. Nice and adjustable. It's built on the same platform as the freshwater vapor boot, so a lot of folks really like that as a weight conscious boot. It doesn't weigh a ton, but gives you quite a bit of support. One bit of feedback on this boot is it does have a pretty significant break-in period. If you are going to take this to Christmas Island or the Seychelles, I strongly recommend you getting it wet and wearing it around because it is over-engineered for durability. It is on the stiff side, and if you don't break it in prior to your first day on the flats, it could create some abrasion issues, blisters, things like that. So if durability is paramount, this is the boot for you. Just go into it knowing that you will have to break them in to get them comfortable prior to wearing. Another important consideration in saltwater wading is what to wear under the boots. The Zipit Bootie and the Intruder boot are designed that you can comfortably wear them barefoot, but if you do have sensitive feet or you're prone to abrasion and blisters, you probably should wear something underneath to cushion as you walk. Simms has 3 distinct offerings in socks to wear under a saltwater wading boot. The beefiest is the Guide Guard socks. These are designed mostly for freshwater wet wading to add insulation as well as sand and gravel protection. They do work well in a saltwater environment, so long as you go into it knowing that they are the warmest solution in the bunch. It's 3.5 millimeter neoprene, so if you're wading in cooler saltwater, maybe striper fishing, they will add some insulation. There is an integrated gravel guard which will help keep sand and gravel out of the top of the boot. However, it can go over the top, so if they're not a really snug fit, sand and gravel can still be an issue. If you are looking for shin protection, they do go up quite a ways, so you can keep your shin protected from anything abrasive, jellyfish, things like that. These are by far the beefiest option, so if you're in really tough conditions, these might be a good choice for you. In the middle is the neoprene wading sock. These are 2.5 millimeters, so they do provide some insulation. No gravel guard in this. It's just enough to cushion your foot and add some warmth if water temps are a little cooler. The bottom of the sock is ventilated, so water can run in and out. It's not gonna keep your foot dry. It's not intended to keep your foot dry. It's intended to add cushioning and to provide some insulation if water temps are cooler. And then lastly, my preferred choice is the guide wet wading sock. This is built very much like a gym sock or a traditional sock, but it's made out of hydrophobic full synthetic material. Because it's hydrophobic, it actually repels water and it's not going to absorb water as you're wading. Because it's built like a traditional sock, it's very comfortable. It provides just enough padding without adding too much heat or warmth, particularly in tropical conditions. And because it's full synthetic, it dries quickly. So you can wear these all day on the flats, take them out, hang them over the rail at your lodge, let them dry out overnight. And so long as it's not super humid, they'll be dry and ready to go the next day. Because they're hydrophobic and antimicrobial as well, they won't stink really bad. So you get a couple days wear out of them. On an average 5, 6, 7 day saltwater trip, I'll take 2 to 3 pairs of these with me and just cycle through them just to make sure that they're not too smelly or too wet and I stay comfortable all day. If you do want to go barefoot, just make sure you give some break-in period, particularly to any boot that doesn't have the integrated neoprene, because there is potential for rubbing or blisters. And the last thing you want to do on day 3 of your saltwater trip is not be able to walk a flat because your feet hurt. So just come prepared for all options. And if you make a good boot choice and couple that with a good sock choice, you'll be really comfortable and be able to focus on the really good fishing at hand. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're heading to any saltwater destination, we'd love to help you out, get geared up, choose flies, choose wading boots, whatever you may need for your trip. Saltwater fishing is really exciting and we all enjoy the process of getting ready, and we want to make sure you're best prepared so you can really maximize your travel. If you have any questions, give us a shout here at the shop, reach out via email or the web, and let us know what we can do to help you get geared up for your next trip.